Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with 4 race starts. We're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders. In green, our Category 2. In blue, Category 3. And Category 4 in red.
First team, Demanuan and Abello up and out from the pack, putting in an attack. They are currently 8 seconds clear of the rest of that Category 3 race.
The nearest rider behind this group, 4 minutes down. So this group are well and truly clear of all of the competition. The winner will come out of this group. Who will it be?
Popovic is kicking, but Knudsen is there. Knudsen can see it. Popovic is coming. Popovic is kicking nearly 9 watts per kilo now. But Michael Knudsen is going to take the win today.
He will be our first rider home. He'll be the winner in category number 1. Qualifier race number 2. Michael Knudsen, race victor.
Down they drop into the corner. Valles is here. They are pushing on. Allport moving through. Dadson coming up. They're going to drop. They're going to kick. You can see the banner. Allport is going to push. Allport has got it. Allport takes the win today.
Naska with the red hair goes over the top of Michael Knudsen. And this is going to be the run for the line. Is he going to make it? Zanaska's going to take this. He's coming on his heels. Zanaska's trying to hold on. That is going to be a photo finish. Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 1, and if our rewinds were to be believed, you could also say, welcome to the Michael Knudsen Show. Because do you know what? It was an awful bit like that during the
it was in August,
wasn't it?
Month
in August. Hi, welcome to the show. My name is Matt Payne. I'm going to be bringing you all of the action, and we're going to be here all the way through the men's race. When I say we, it's not just me. No, we have the much better equipped to deal with all of the stats and figures as well as the commentary, Emma Martin. Emma, how you doing?
Oh, really good to be here today for the first round of September. I can't believe we're in September to start with, but you were right, Matt. Knudsen dominated through August, and Zanaska run him so close to the line in the final last week, but Zanaska, well, he came in second because Knudsen just rolled him right on the line. Today, however, we're on a very different course. We are in Australia and we are heading to Wollongong. And as you can see in front of you, 45 kilometres of racing, 704 metres of climbing, 3 300-metre sprint segments along the way, and 3 times up the Wollongong climb. Now, you can see in front of you, it's 1.9 kilometres in length with an average gradient of 5.1%. But the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice there's 2 parts to the climb, with a descent and then another climb. Now, that first part of the climb hits around 10%.
Ouch.
But the second part of the climb, we will see the gradient head 17% and above. So do not believe it when it says 5.1% average gradient. That's okay. It is going to go skywards.
Yeah, it is a true figure. It's not quite the whole story, let's say. Okay, so 4 categories lined up, category 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5 minutes between categories 1 and 2. 5 minutes between categories 3 and 4. 10 minutes between 2 and 3 in the middle. Categories 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 can catch and race against each other. 3 and 4 can. Slightly different to previous editions, as we've had an increase in numbers and split 3 and 4 from 1 and 2. Now, go on, Emma. Tell us the numbers.
We have indeed had an increase in numbers. 206 riders taken to the start sheets today in the men's race. In Category 4, 53 riders in Category 4 today, and it is a who's who of Category 4 racing. But Ramos, Kamesh, Burnett, McMurtry, Back, Kaluma, Soberg, Zanaska, Londorno, Francis, Coking, Lloyd, Dadson, Nowak, Allport. It is going to be a cracker.
It is indeed. So here we go. It is time to start the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club for September. It's Category 4 who are hitting the road. Away we go. It's time to see which of these red jerseys will turn this in to race victory. who is going to be feeling the pace. Huge bunch heading out here, and there's lots of draft to be had from these riders. Let's run you through the screens very quickly and tell you what you're seeing on the head-up display. Emma, you can go first. What would you like to talk about?
I'm going for the one at the top in the middle. So you can see the long bar in the top at the middle of your screen currently gives you the indication around the rider we are looking at. So David Milano at the moment, 473 watts. He's putting an attack in on the front of that field. He's been moving for 40 seconds. His heart rate hasn't risen yet. It's still 120, a 6 at the moment, and his cadence 77. But boy, is he pushing on.
And so that's the centre section. You can see the rider stats, how far he's gone. Looking at David Milano, who is stringing this group out. I'm going to pick bottom left-hand side of the screen because this is really relevant at the moment. This is the satellite view. You can see we're coming into a left-hand bend, and you can see that the group is strung out. Each rider is represented by a red disc. The rider we're following is the largest disc with the triangle on. However, this will change, obviously, as the pack changes. Quite often on a race start, you will see this as one big blob. This is not. This is one big strung out bunch who are absolutely nailing it. You can also see that we've got 2 meters of elevation climb so far. Not very much, but we have got the big kicker coming, and I'm going to pick another one. I'm going to be greedy. Top right hand side, you can see it says 0.7, a yellow vertical line and a very thin white line. That's where we are. We're about to hit the very first of our climbs. This is the kicker up into town, into Wollongong. This is brutal, it's nasty, and this can split the field. So down into the dip, around the sweeping bend. It's a tight right hand turn, and then we're on to the climb, and you can see in front of the riders it rises up. It doesn't look huge, not at all, but you can see that we are on the ascent. We hit the base of this with 4 meters of ascent covered, but in the space of the next few hundred meters, this could separate the group out even more. It's already fractured. It's going to break up even more as we go on to the top, particularly if Mark Dadson keeps on pushing with Joy Kaluma as they go over the top.
Dadson absolutely on form at the moment. He was on fire last week in the August final, taking the win in the Category 4 race. Hats off to Mark Dadson for taking that win, and well, he's on a roll today as well.
So it's Dadson who has led this out. He's got Velez behind him, chasing hard at the moment. They've gone over the top of that section. As you can see, it's a 14-meter climb in terms of vertical height. Sounds nothing, but look at the damage it's done. 3 leaders, a massive expansion. They have been put to the sword.
Well, they have got to settle down in a minute, because that has got to be the fastest Category 4 start I have ever seen. And we know Ramos has always kicked at the start, and he's always gone off the line hard. But this, wow.
Welcome to having a huge field of 53 riders on the start list. And that's what happens.
They just can't keep that going. That is all I can say. So Dadson, Allport and Valles, that is 3 riders who we know are all strong. Those 3 are clear at the moment. They've got 5 seconds. It's Montoya leading the charge behind with McMurtry, Kaluma, Mamba, Alvarez and Yates. Schoberg is in there as well. We know they are strong riders too. I think this has got to settle down, and I think this is going to come back together again.
I don't think you're wrong. We are going to leave our Category 4 riders to their little battle at the moment as we go across Category 3. Our next step up the ladder, and another big field.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. 47 riders in this Category 3 field today. We've got some new riders coming in. Kirk, Ratto, Connell and Goodall joining us for the first time, but Neville Ross is here, so is Acker, so is Quadrelli, Barla, Gakes, Pledger. Eckersley is here, so is Agudelo and Hoyas, Diduch and Demanuan, Dromad and Tortoretto. This is another stacked field.
Stacked field. We'll see how our Colombian and Andean team of Arrego, Arayev and Bulgarin get on. But this is Category 3. First step up the ladder from Category 4. Big field. Who's going to take this on? Who will be our race winner in this category?
Well, Polgarin's legs are spinning, and away go Category 3. 47 riders leaving the start pen for what is a race out in Australia. They are heading out towards Wollongong City, and the Wollongong climb will be facing them 3 times today.
So you can see this group kicking away very quickly. Indeed, this is all about getting that pace. 1 or 2 riders just coming out from the start bends, a little delayed on the way out there. They're going to have their work cut out to get into the group, because this group are trying to stay in the draft. The watts that are generated, if the number is in green, it means they're in the draft. It means that they're taking advantage of hiding behind somebody else. If the numbers are white, it means that they're in the wind and they are in trouble. So white in the wind, green is good. That's how it works when you're hitting the watts. That's where you've got to be, trying to save as much energy, because this course is brutal. One of the key things to remember, that this course has 704 meters of climbing, and there's only 306 meters in the official climb. It is not flat pretty much anywhere other than this run down pass through the pens. That's the only place it levels out pretty much. Everywhere else is frantic, and it means you've got to be on the ball from the word go, because you want to be in that group when you come into the first of the climbs.
Well, and you've really got to keep your eye on the ball completely throughout all of this course, not just on the climb, because there are so many small attack points and so many attacks will go. This will be a live wire race.
So here we go. Oh, who's got the full 240 volts flowing through them? Who's going to be stuck on the old 1.5 AAA battery? We're going to see who's got the most power, who's got the ability to translate that into speed as well, because that is key. It's all very well being the strongest rider or the one with the most power, but this is not a course where one particular place will count.
No.
There are so many trigger points for attacks, for moves, for breaks, for regrouping. It is so difficult to race this rather than just ride it. It's hard enough just to ride. It's incredibly difficult to race.
Yeah, and tactics really play a big part here, and also understanding the technique of riding on the MyWhoosh platform, because there are so many opportunities, particularly with the rolling nature of this course and the downhills, not just the uphills, to really ride this platform and to really race this platform.
So here we go on to this first section of climb, this 14 meters of ascent that can separate out. We saw the damage that was done in Category 3. It's being stretched out at the front of Category 4. You can see the volume of riders on the right-hand side of your screen, which is our scrolling list of riders going into the red. You can see those red chevrons going across as riders kick. We're focused in on the rider in blue. That's Julio Arrego, who is dead center at the moment of your main screen. His avatar sitting, I think, in third, if not second wheel. They're going through now into 4th position in that. Now, the numbers on there are the riders in categories 3 and 4. The 45th at the moment for Julio Arrego, yo-yoing around the 40s to the right the way up to the 60s. That's quite simply because he's in this big pack of riders. The time gaps will show the watts per kilo and the distance covered by the riders nearest to him, and this is the same screen our riders can see. So the riders will see the sat-nav view on the left. They'll see the central screen at the top. They'll see the full bars down the right-hand side, and you can see where they are. Now, in addition to that, of course, across the center of your screen at the bottom, not only do we have our scrolling ticker across there with lots of information for you, you also can see that we have on the screens the social media tags. Please do make sure you jump on those. Give everybody a follow on the way through. Get yourself up to date with all the latest information. However, best place to be right now, it is going to be on MyWhoosh Live on Twitch TV, getting the full Technicolor version of the racing as we see Category 4 approaching the green banner tops with that UCI logo across the top at the end of the City Beat Sprint, the first of our sprint segments. These are timed individually. The fastest rider's time through translates to points, and that means it's 5 points for Luke Allport, 4 for Montoya, 3 for Zanaska, 2 for Carvajal, and 1 for Mamba. This is in each of our categories, in categories 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that translates as a jersey. The points are added up, and then the jersey is allocated. Bear in mind at the moment, terms of prize money is not for the sprints and it's not for the mountains category, and that mountains polka dot jersey works in the same way as the sprints. But prize money is key.
It is
so
indeed.
Let's have a little look and see how much you could be winning here today if you are racing. Emma.
Yeah, so category 4 qualifier races. It's the individual classification today. So first prize in category 4 taking away 2,160 AED. Down to 5th place prizes go. 432 for 5th in category 4 today. The team's classification comes into play in the monthly final, but we've got 3 qualifiers before then. The category 3 prize money moves on from category 4, and you can see there in the qualification races 3,600 AED for first place today, down to 720 for 5th place. Now, equal prize money in the men's and women's race. If you have watched the women's races, they're exactly the same numbers that you would have seen there. Category 2 moving on again. First place today taking away 6,000 AED, down to 5th, 1,200. Now the team's classification you will also see going up at the end of the month in the monthly final. Category 2 team classification first prize, 30,000 AED.
Big numbers, but not as big as our Category 1 riders. This is the cream of the crop, the fastest riders. As you can see, some massive numbers in there. 50,000 at the monthly final for the team's classification. The individual classification, 2,000 for 5th, 4,000 for 4th, 6,000 for 3rd, 8,000 AED for 2nd, and a whopping 10,000 AED for first place. Now, we do have riders around the globe. Earlier on we were in Euros because we're in France, but thought we'd go somewhere slightly different this time round. This is going to be, we always like to do a comparison. So if we've got any of our Algerian riders with us.
Oh!
Algerian dinar.
Yes.
This is courtesy of moneyexchangerates.com.
Okay. Other conversions are available.
They are indeed. So just bear in mind that this is current at the moment. So 10,000 AED in Algerian dinar exchange rate is, are you ready for this? 372,259 Algerian dinar.
Well,
Should I say that again? 372,259 Algerian dinar for the win. And that is a substantial sum of money.
It's a substantial sum of money wherever you are your currency. In the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, we are back in with the Category 3 race, and we're in with Tom Gakes at the moment as the pack head up the climb. Now, you can see from the graphic on the top right-hand corner of your screen the constantly rolling nature of this course that Matt and I were discussing a little bit earlier, but it is not causing a problem with this pack at the moment as they're all out the saddle and pushing on those pedals, ensuring they are up and over that bump and heading on to the downhill section. This pack is huge.
It's a massive, but that is what we expected. We've got large numbers on our start list. Remember, categories 4 and 3. I think these are the biggest fields we've seen in both those categories.
Absolutely. So 53 riders in category 4, 47 riders in category 3. The 2 biggest race fields we have ever seen in category 4 and category 3 in the men's race. Now, it's not the biggest field because we have seen 80 plus in the category 1 men's race.
And that is in part because new riders go into category 1 and then work their way into the correct category. However, they're going to have to wait a little bit longer. They are 6 minutes away from start, but the next riders to start will be the riders in category 2. Another big race field here, and we do have teams in here as well, because we have in category 2 the almost ever-present Zaid Hamdan, Ahmed Al Tanaji and Hassan Al Ramesri, the UAE Falcons, and Henry Issa, Jonas Bjarhed, Olivier Simmons and Nicholas Spratt of the Hitmen.
Well, the Hitmen were so dominant in the final. They took 2nd, 3rd and 4th and took the win in the team competition by 2 minutes 13 seconds. But look at the rest of the riders. Angarita is here, Oviedo, Giuliano, Bernat, Valencia, Hernandez, Quintero, Quadrelli, Morello, Harvey, Winfield, Parisi, Roncalli, Kranich. These riders all in here going to give a really strong race today.
So here we go. It is the second of our race fields lined up and good to go. Let's see who's going to take the win in category 2. It's time to put the power down. Here we go, 2 are away, and this is about getting that start out. Sit in the draft with a near 50 rider field in category 2 alone, and you are going to be able to take advantage of a big reduction in effort. It leaves our category 1 waiting for their start. 3 groups away, categories 4, 3, and 2 now out and racing.
Yeah, they are up and out of the pen. They are moving well, and look at that. Tom Harvey is the rider pushing on and pushing on hard at the front of this pack. Mayor is with him, so is Smythe. These are going out hard from the gun today.
And this is about making sure that you are in that leading group. So Mayor, Smythe, Graves, Quintero, Juki in there, Munoz, Kranich, Caigula, Oya, real familiar names. They know that they've got to get out quick and stay in with this group. Get distance now, you're going to be in trouble. 0.6 of a K, 600 meters in, we take the long sweep in left that leads us in towards that key climb, and the key climber will be on the horizon for these roads. It's only a small kicker, but it is the first kicker of many here today. Remember, this is essentially a course of laps. We go out and around, we basically climb to the top of the mountain, we then repeat that 2 further times. That is going to be tough stuff. 3 climbs, a mountaintop finish or a hilltop finish on the Wollongong climb. Let's see who's got their climbing legs and who's got their sprinting legs, because it's as important to be able to put a big sprint in, and actually that can take you over some of these steeper sections.
Yeah, it can do indeed, and we're coming up to the first steeper segment here, or the steeper section here, should I say, not to be confused with our climbing segments. This is the first climb section, and coming up over the bridge and into the city, well, it sweeps over the water. You take that right-hand bend, and then it goes up. This pack coming in fast here. Oviedo coming in at 8.5, 9 watts per kilo. He really knows this course, and he knows where this course is going. He wants to split this pack and split this pack early. Oviedo, Kranich, Graves, Mir, Caligula, all in here, all pushing hard, but it's Oviedo doing the damage on the front here. This is a sprint effort from Jose Oviedo. Carson Mayer is responding behind because he doesn't want the gap to go too far. But wow, what an effort going in for the first climb of the day.
So category 2 leaders just coming over the top. You can see the damage done. A few riders out the saddle. Lots of riders' heart rates starting to skyrocket already in here. And this is very much about making sure you get your recovery in as well.
Well, you do, and those micro rests absolutely essential to what's going to happen today in this course. So lots of tiny micro bursts of rest required just to try and bring the heart rate down to continue being able to apply the pressure.
And those rests really key. You've got to kick, you've got to rest, you've got to kick, you've got to rest, you've got to recover. Quadrelli, we know, is really good at this. Now we saw him ride really strongly in the MyWhoosh Championships. Really strong rider, but one whose recovery was really impressive.
Yeah, and that is absolutely key. And some riders really nail this. The ability to kick, recover, kick, recover, kick, recover. And as long as they can get those micro rests in and that little bit of recovery, they are good to go again. Other riders really, really struggle and cannot continue to keep with those short, sharp bursts. So a really good tactic if you know we've got good, strong climbers in here. But to be really honest, this climb that we've got today, it goes up, it drops down, it goes up. It is so steep. Actually, it almost suits a sprinter better than it suits a climber.
I'm stood here grinning like a Cheshire cat,
well,
because it's a chance for a good climber to be beaten by a good sprinter, or vice versa. So we'll see how that's going to play out in categories 4, 3, 2 and category 1, who are lined up ready to go. 57 riders on the start sheets for this start. We have the UAE clan team, the Belgian Waffles team, and the Italian Gelato. So Vink Popovic, SS, Mr. X100, and Michael Knudsen for the UAE clan team. The Waffles team are going to be led by Martin Martins, and the Italian Gelato team going to be led by Zach Nair. But massive field of individual riders who could all challenge for that win. Plus, of course, people coming in as well who we're going to be working out how good they are.
Well, Josh Harris joins the Category 1. He's an ex-world champion marathon runner who's taken to esports like a duck to water. As the seconds count down, we're going to watch what takes place today. So away go our Category 1 riders, 57 riders up and out of the start pen. And this is a stacked field today, along with the UAE clan team who took that win from Italian Gelatos by 1 minute 48 seconds in the final last week. Theme is here, Zanaska's here, Fawcett is back now. Fawcett has been up the rake this morning. For those of you who ride in the UK or know about the top 100 climbs in the UK, he's gone and done, I think it's number 72, before the Tour of Britain goes through, just as a little warm-up this morning. So Ross Fawcett's legs are rolling. Taylor Gonsolin and Alpino have obviously come up from Category 2. Harburg is here, Hoyas is here, Van Haren, Van Elst, Kaminski, Van den Eckhout, Betty, Cutler, Bjorkland, Waters, Norren. Ollie Jones is back, so it's Said Safrazad, and he has taken a win out on the road recently. And of course, Koinsten, the triathlete, is also in the pack today. This is a phenomenal group of elite athletes we are watching in front of us.
It is. Now, I'm going to just go back a little bit to see the bit you said about Ross Fawcett there. So Ross Fawcett is ridden on the rake. So the rake is a particularly steep hill climb. It's known as a hill climb section in its own right. So in the UK, a time trial isn't necessarily just a flat section. It is also can be the hill climb section, and it would just be a time trial. So the time up the climb is really critical in the time trial. So it's about how fast you can ride up there. The rake has actually been used for a national hill climb repeat on a number of occasions, including one of the times that I rode. In fact, as I lined up for the start line, somebody actually asked me how their job was going at the bike shop that I worked at with about 30 seconds to my race start at the National Hill Climb. Didn't put me off. Got to the top. I think from memory I was 55th out of about 240 riders.
Wow.
And you had to be selected. It wasn't just turn up and ride to get in there. And to be honest, it wasn't a climb that suited me. It's so steep, they have a handrail for pedestrians at the side.
Well, can I just mention, it is just shy of 1 kilometre in length.
Yep.
It is 9.9% average gradient.
Yep.
And Ross Fawcett this morning went up in 2 minutes 58, which puts him 7th on the Strava leaderboard.
That is some going, because there's some very fast riders up there.
I tell you what, that is a rider on form at the moment, and it's going to be really interesting to see what he can do today. But Von Haren is here, Nair is here, Dan is here. This group have already stretched on this first climb into Wollongong City. We're in with Zach Nair, whose heart rate's currently around 153. He's putting out 248 watts. He was in the draft. He is back in the draft, and that's where you want to be at the moment.
So the leading group on the descent on the far side, the gap between them and the chasers will be opening up. You can see left-hand side of your screen. That gap has opened. It's been extended, and this is the pace that is being put in by the leaders. We're in with Michael Knudsen at the moment, the man who has got racing on the Sunday Race Club dialed down to a T. Timing, cadence, pedal revs, how you apply the power, where you apply the power, all absolutely critical. And the more you ride on MyWhoosh, the more that you will be able to get that dialed. It's the same when you change from any discipline, whether you're going from the track to the road to mountain bike to cyclocross. I've been fortunate enough to put words to the action to all of these, and very interesting watching the different styles of the riders as they come through. So let's see how our riders get on. They are motoring their way through Montoya at the moment. Tucked in nicely in here, but look at this. It's effectively, it looks like a chain gang. There's basically 2-3 riders wide at the most, one long line. Some serious draft on offer.
Well,
who's got the energy to do that?
I don't know, but that is how you lead a chain gang. absolutely putting in a bolt there as you head off and dig down and continue to push on those pedals. We're seeing two clear groups now in this Category 1 race, and you can see that on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Group number 1 heading around this corner, group number 2 a little further back, but everybody who's anybody is in group number 1. Noren is here, Zabata is here, Safrazad is here, Bailey, Dan, Cutler, Vink,
Hoyos,
Noren, Hoyos,
Big.
Fawcett,
Rengo.
Orengo is in here as well. So this is absolutely motoring at the moment. They are rolling just shy of 40 kilometers an hour. Wow. All four groups have laid down some fantastic starts today, and it all alludes to some fantastic racing as we continue to roll around Wollongong City.
Great venue, and for those of you that can't remember, Wollongong, of course, played host to the World Championship road races, basically last year, 2022. So they were the road race championships were in Wollongong prior to the Worlds in Glasgow, and the riders out on very familiar terrain as the riders are on the way in now. Now, you can see we are now fast approaching. You can just see at the moment, this is the run for the summit. This is the top of the climb segment. This is not the end of the race, and it shows you what the riders have to face after they finish the climb segment. Remember, that climb segment will finish 200 meters or so shy of where the finishing line is when we come round at the end at 45 kilometers of racing, but we come up this 3 times. Now, really interesting seeing how fast these riders are going and how fast they're on their way through.
Well, taking a look at that top right-hand corner of your screen, the climb segment may have finished, but it's 15% under the wheels of these riders. That's what they're going to have to face towards the end of this race today to get from the top of the climb to the finish line. Well, the Category 4 riders already up and over and round. Category 3 riders now coming over the top of the brow of the Wollongong climb. It drops down. There's a little kicker before we start the main descent, but those Category 3 riders are now not far behind the Category 4 ones.
You can see on your screen the 2 polka dot jerseys of the fastest riders up the climb. Really interested in Category 3 that we had Aaron taking the polka dot jersey, but Gates continued over the top. He's opened a gap. He's got only a little bit of a gap, but he went over the top first, really splitting that group up. You can see from the satellite view of the riders in blue, they are dot to dot behind. It's a long line. Category 4, it's a very small select group now.
Now, there's real importance as to going over and down the fastest and down over the top of that climb is such an important technical part of this course, because we've seen riders with gaps of 2 or 3 seconds not get caught. That is enough to carry over the top of that climb to establish a lead and continue to motor, but you've got to make a concerted effort. You assume you will get caught, but never assume, because actually this descent off the Wollongong climb is as strategically important as your ability on the climb itself. Well, Valles, Dadson, Allport and McMurtry have all made it up and over the climb together. They're down and back into the city. That's the leading 4 in the Category 4 race, as we're seeing Tim Cutler on the attack in the Category 1 race. Cutler pushing on at 6.7 watts per kilo. No chase coming from behind. Bailey on the front, dropping right off the pace. Hassan Sultan coming through because he didn't want the pack to slow down behind. He wants to chase because Cutler, he knows, is indeed capable of time trialling away from this group. So Cutler in 1, Sultan in 2. SS from the UAE clan team now doing the work to chase this down. Vink also keeping an eye, and Josh Harris. Now we know he is a first timer on the Sunday Race Club, but he has serious esports status. He is a phenomenal esports rider, having made the transition from elite running into esports riding. Harris showing his form, showing his name up and on that board on his first venture into the Sunday Race Club.
So here we go, very interesting watching these results as they come in through. SS with the fastest time through there by the look of the jersey. Let's see if that's confirmed. It is so by 0.784. SS, the UAE clan team member, who has really worked hard when he was on our finals. He was definitely coming into form at exactly the right time, ahead of Che Howeiler, then Cutler, then Popovic, then Van Haren, Carradine, Harris, and Bjorkland. They are the race top 8 that have gone through. Very quick through there as well.
Well, very quick through there, and SS rewarded with the green jersey. You can see that change in status there. He's the rider on Tim Cutler's wheel. Cutler's continuing to push on, and you know what? Cutler and SS are away now. Harburg is the rider with Fawcett leading the chasing group, but the pace is off the chasing group. They're sat at 3.2 watts per kilo, 5 seconds back now. Von Haren coming through with Michael Vink. In fact, Michael Vink now coming to the fore of the group and picking the pace up slightly there. But Cutler and SS now down the road. They are still in sight of the chasing group not panicking at all at the moment. So Cutler and SS heading round that right-hand bend, shortly to be out of sight. This large group here of yellow jersey wearers, well, they are chasing.
They are, and they've got to be very careful here, because it's an old game, isn't it? Extend too soon, put yourself in trouble, you could be in real problems. Now, across with category 2, they are on to the climb. You can just see Eduardo Parisi leading them up part 1. Remember, this is a 2-part climb. If you go back to Emma's description of the course, this is where those of you that are eagle-eyed stroke can spot the blindingly obvious, and this is something else there, can take a look and see. It is a climb of 2 parts. The first part is basically the first third. It's an appetizer. It's your starter of a climb because it is shorter. You then dip down, get a chance to take a breath, and then you're onto the main part of the climb. And the kick out of the depression between the 2 parts and the top of the second part are incredibly steep. The steepest sections actually on the whole of the climb. So here we go. Olivier Simmons going to lead them down into the dip here. Parisi, Gray, Spratt, Caligula, Kranich, Isa, Mendekowicz chasing hard at the moment. You can see this group are going to come through carrying the pace and carrying the speed down that hill in a group. Really advantageous because it drives you on and through. But this is where the tarmac goes skywards. This is where you can see the steep bank really starts to kick in, and in front of the riders comes one of the toughest sections of the climb. Watch gradient top right hand side, it's going over 10%, 10.9, going up through 11, 12, 13. It's going to just keep on going. This is where we're soon going to see who really has their climbing legs on today.
Well, this is about staying in the group and going over the top with the group. You don't need to be a lone breakaway rider at the moment. This is the first ascent of this category 4 climb, the first time up the Wollongong climb. They've got to go up this 3 times in this race, and on the 3rd time that will be where the checkered flag is, right at the top. This first time up is about whittling that group down. It is about staying with those leaders, not necessarily putting in a huge attack.
But it is a big attack here by SS, who's gone clear with Juan Hoyos, or marked Juan Hoyos out. Behind, you can just see the rest of the group are coming. But Cutler, well, he is looking strong as well. So Cutler, SS going through looking good. Hoyos is trying to close down the gap with Vink, with Betty. And
well,
I think...
Are they?
Yeah, I would say yes, they are, because I don't think... I'm
not sure they are.
UAE clan team, no. They won't close the gap down. They can rely on SS to be up there. They don't have to do any work. The rest of the group, yes, they need to. They can't let these two go. We've seen Tim Cutler time and time again go clear. He's so strong.
Well, I'm looking at Cutler, 5.9 watts per kilo. SS, these 2 riders are through and off. It's like a team time trial here. They're keeping the pace high and they are rolling. They are extending their lead. They're now out to 13 seconds. Safrazad coming through, but Safrazad came through at 2.2 watts per kilo onto the front of that group and has quickly rolled off. Hoyos now sitting at 3.4. I do not think there is a concerted chase yet from this group behind.
I would agree. I would agree. Apart from the fact, I don't think it's concerted. but I do think there's a chase.
Well, I
You can
think
agree to
we
differ.
will agree to differ at the moment, because Vink, Mayer, Holweiler, Betty Knudsen, Popovich, Hoyer, Safrazad, Bailey, Vanden Eckhout, Bjorklund, Jones, Nair are all in this chasing group, and well, they're 4 or 5 riders across the road.
They are indeed. I quite agree.
Yeah, so this chasing pack here in this Category 1 race, we've got 2 leaders further down the road. They are 9.6 kilometres into this race. They are very shortly coming up for the start of the climb. This is going to be their first ascent of Wollongong climb. Let's take a look and see whether this changes the order of what's happening in this Category 1 race.
Well, this is going to be very, very interesting to see how they deal with this. Remember, this climb is 1.9k long to the banner. The banner, though, is some 200 plus meters from the top of the climb proper, because you have that run to the finishing line, which is up at the top. So in with Saad Carradine at the moment. He is sat in the middle of this group, nicely taking some shelter in terms of draft, but the speed of 23 kilometers an hour. So again, 23 kilometers an hour is not going to be enough to get a massive amount of benefit from it, but it will still help. Every little bit counts on a course like this. Every little opportunity to take every little bit of advantage that you can is critical, particularly when you're in such exalted company as the leaders of Category 1.
Yeah, it is company, because it is a who's who of esports racing. And look at that pack. They are just moving as one, as the gradient is just shy of 10% at the moment. They are absolutely on it going up this climb. But my question is, where is Cutler and SS?
Where are Cutler and SS? Good question. Up the road.
Yeah, I think they may still be, as we are going to take a little look and a little scroll further up the group and trying to work out where they are. They are up the road at the moment. Walter, Kaminsky, Van Elst, Holweller, Bjorklund, Carradine, Darn.
I'll tell you where they are. They're around the left-hand bend and the right-hand turn.
You can see, can't you? Because you can see on that
map.
bottom left-hand corner of the screen.
But they're only just on screen, and they disappear off at times, and it shows you that outside our mind. Now, we take this turn here. They're down in the bottom of the ditch. They've done the left-hand turn. They are out of sight and out of mind. But when we go into the climb, we get that compression, don't we?
We do.
Come in, the leader's speed will peel off as the back of this group are coming through at some serious pace. Cutler, right-hand side of your screen. He's your leader on the road. Left-hand side, you can see Carradine here near the back of the bunch going on to the base of the climb.
It's about 100 metres or so, the difference between Cutler and the back of this leading pack. So that is the distance Cutler's got at 7.6 watts per kilo climbing this climb. You can see, oh, look at that. If he could turn his head, he would see them coming behind. SS is on his wheel, but look at that chasing group.
I'm looking at that, and I'm also looking at what pedal cadence SS is churning up there. That looked to be a huge gear he's pushing up the climb at the moment. Normally we expect to see our riders round about, well, even on a big climb, 70. But look at that, 47 revs per minute. That's like a weight training session, isn't it? That is grinding out in a big gear. Oh, there we go. Change gear. It's gone down into a lower gear.
There you go. Look at that. 91.
Yep, much smoother. You've got more chance of staying with something. It's more flexible in terms of responsiveness if you're in something revving around about the 80 to 90 revs range. You're down at 40s. It's very difficult to respond. Now, Michael Vink starts to push on the front of this group. This is going to elicit a response. Hoyos, Safrazad, Vujausin, Harris, all want to be on Vink's wheel. They know the danger that this man is. Whilst we might have seen Nelson's name on the rewise, Michael Vink, a quick reminder, a rider on the UAE Emirates team, is a rider who knows this platform inside out. He is absolutely flying.
It is indeed, and Vink now pushing on with Hoyas and Kaminsky. So these riders now taking charge towards the top of this climb. It's Cutler and SS. They are coming back into the fold because Vink, Hoyas and Harris are the ones who have led the chase and closed the gap. But take a look at that bottom left-hand screen. It is completely and utterly decimated that huge group that came in. So that big group that came in now looking like spread across 3 different groups on the road.
3 different, and it could be 30 by the time they get over the top of this climb. They're coming up over the top of the hill here, and it is Vink with the fastest time. So you can see here on MyWhoosh, it's the UAE clan team, it's the UAE Emirates team out on the road. Whichever team he's riding for, he's a team you want to be on, because that is some blisteringly quick time. Here he is in that polka dot skin suit as he goes in and through, the fastest man over the climb. At the moment, though, well, he's looking like he's pretty comfy in hit. Now, this is a course where we first coined the phrase doing a Vink.
Yeah, it is.
There you go. My memory's not that bad, saying as I'm really, really old, or I feel it anyway at the moment. So as the riders drop down, we're coming up to the point. Now, there is a point at which Vink did his trademark move, and that is a little bit further down. So our riders descend off the mountain. They come down, it's roller coaster, then they do a turn. And then when they come into that turn is basically a spiral to go off. You take the exit ramp, you go round a left-hand turn, and it goes back over the road you were on. That slight climb is where Vink attacked and did a Vink for the very first time that we noticed it anyway. He's been doing it for a while. It's when we coined the phrase doing a Vink was from there on in. Will he be able to repeat that, or is he going to try something slightly different? Well, we're going to have to find out. It's a little bit further down the hillside. This group, though, looking good. Have you got any idea on numbers here, Emma? There's counting going on in the studio.
I think there's about 17 riders in that group, but
okay.
I take that as an approximate at the moment.
An approximation of 17 riders, okay.
I think there might be a little bit more.
Don't count again. It's a good job we're not using fingers and thumbs, we'd have run out.
I know.
So leading the group on descent in with Hoyos at the moment, 90 revs per minute, getting a lot of draft. Has to be careful not to get dropped off the back of the group. A bit like an elimination race, or Devil Take the Hindmost as it used to be known on the velodrome. Being last man is the most dangerous place to be. You're in trouble. You can get caught out very, very easily and be dropped off the group, particularly if you're not paying attention to the front. Now, Mistakes 100, the team casted the man from the UAE clan team. He's right in the mix here, often seen marshalling the troops on the way through. Looks very strong at the moment. Remember, of course, that he is a rider that we know can ride and sit at pace for a long, long time. Now, Vujasin just on the front, being closed down by Mr. X100. You've got Cutler right in the mix here. Their attack, their speculative attack, not coming to fruition in terms of a breakaway of 2, but it has left us with a select group at the front of the race, with everybody else in the distance at the moment. They've got a bit of ground to make up to category 2. And a quick reminder, so whereas before categories 1, 2, 3 and 4 were all riding essentially the same race route at the same time, we have 2 duplicate routes in use at the moment. So everybody's riding the same route, which is the Wollongong route in Australia, but we have 2 parallel universes. The first parallel universe is the one that contains categories 3 and 4, and the other one contains categories 1 and 2. It means that no longer can 1 and 2 draft 3 and 4, or vice versa. And that means that they are 2 separate groups. Does change the dynamics of the racing slightly, but it also means that we can put a lot more people on to the race start, and it means we've got bigger numbers, which is always great to see. If you want to join, don't forget, please do make sure that what you do is, if you want to come on here, go in to the place and race around where Michael Vink did his Vink for the very first time. You can come out and ride. You can race on the Sunday Race Club. Download the app on the MyWhoosh.com website, and make sure you get that downloaded, get some running. Make sure you check out the rule set, updated rule set. So if you are watching this and you're a regular and you haven't checked out the new rules, please, guys, make sure you do so. Make sure, of course, you complete your verification. We're not going to go into that in depth. All the details on the website. And whilst you're online, don't forget, of course, give MyWhoosh a follow on social media. MyWhoosh at Insta and Facebook, so across the meta world. And, of course, on X, formerly Twitter, is my_whoosh. So please do jump aboard. Give the team a follow and get up to date with all of the latest news. Now, Johan Noren just squeezing on here. This is a good squeeze, so 8 watts per kilo.
Yeah, it is indeed. So Noren pushing on here and pushing on strong. This is a little flat section through town at the moment. So Noren pushing on. Van Elst is the rider in 2. And, well, up in front, in not far off, some of the Category 2 riders. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen, there's a green dot on the screen up ahead. That is the next rider that Noren is going to see in his sights up ahead. But Noren and Van Elst, 2 riders pushing on at the moment as Van Elst comes up on the side of Noren, pushing on and maintaining the pace high. Michael Knudsen, for the first time, comes into prominence because Knudsen is coming up onto their wheel. So Knudsen, Noren and Van Elst, the 3 riders just off the front of the pack at the moment. Hoyos at the front leading the group. Nair is there with Safrazad and Cutler. So these riders just stretching their legs a little at the moment.
Yeah, don't think it's going to last.
Well, on the right-hand side of your screen, this is the Category 2 race. Parisi, Graves, Spratt, Simeons. Well, that's 4 riders I could have probably picked out from the start sheet as expecting to see there or thereabouts. They've got 30 seconds on the chasing group, and the chasing group's being led by Biarhead at the moment and Carsten Mayer. They are absolutely motoring these 4. They are clear of the chase group by just over 30 seconds now. They are at the 20-kilometre mark of this race.
And remember, 20k is not quite half race distance, 45k total race distance. 4 leaders with the gap. Very strong 4, but there's some big names left behind.
There are.
So let's see if they're going to close that down, because if these 4 can stay clear, it puts them in the running of 4 of those 5 prize slots. Now, a little bit further round the course, coming in to the Wollongong climb for the second time. And this is at 26.3k. It is the leaders on the road: Brick McMurtry, Luke Allport, Mark Dawson, and Jose Velas. Your leading 4 riders here. Velas with the jersey for the polka dots for the climbing. Behind the chase being led by Joy Kaluma, but 1 minute separating our leading 4 from the chasers behind. The green sprint jersey in the group behind, the polka dot jersey in the leading 4 riders. In category 3, they're on the left of your screen, with category 4 on the right. Category 3, you can see that we have in there the run at the moment. We're just in with Ramirez tucked in. I think we've got the polka dot jersey in this group as well. Interesting to see Ishmael Nokiera in here. Gates tucked in nicely. Looks like Die Dutch and Aaron as well. This is a real who's who. So looking very, very good as they make their way in, taking this right-hand turn.
They are making the right-hand turn as well at the moment as they continue to push on. Around 20 riders in this leading group in Category 3 at the moment. 4 leaders in Category 4, 4 leaders in Category 2. So very different racing across our categories today.
So next group through is category 1, leading the group down through here is Martez. He has got Hoyos with him. Just looking to see, I don't think anybody clear at the moment. 6100 in here, Harris in here, Kaminsky, Noren, who's Zach Nair nicely tucked on board as well. So this is the leading group. This group has, it looks to me like it's come down slightly, maybe by 1 or 2 riders, Emma?
Yeah, I'm counting around 15 riders in this group at the moment. So I would say we've lost 1 or 2 from last check. So coming into the city, we've said it's a rolling terrain, and it really is a rolling terrain. So just 1 or 2 riders being distanced from this group, but we've got Knudsen, Bjorklund, Harris, Van Elst, Martins, X100. Hernandez from category 2 is in just off the back of this group. They've just gone past the back market in the category 2 race. So the next group of riders up ahead, well, they're over 1:20 up the road, and that's the next group of category 2 riders. But Hoyos, Popovic, Safrazad, Vink, Knudsen, Van den Eckhout, Martins, Vujasin, Walter, Cutler. Harburg has not made the cut. He's leading the chase group at the moment.
He is, but I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to make this back. But I think this is, I think there's still plenty of distance out to play this out on. So category 3 on to the climb at the base of the climb for the second ascent of the Wollongong climb here in Australia, in the Australian world, one of the many worlds. I'm looking forward to when we go to the climbs of Belgium, because the Belgian climbs are absolutely brutal. If you've not ridden, put your climbing legs on, put your sprinting legs on. There are so many moors that you are going to really love. If you're into riding across in Belgium, make sure you dive on there. Now, looks like one man who's taken advantage of us diving off away, giving them a little bit of space. It is Michael Vink, who has pushed on here. He's got a little bit of a gap closed down there by Stefan Van Elst. It's Van Elst on the wheels here of Vink. He's going to come on the right-hand side. This really has thrown the cat in amongst the pigeons, and they really are now scrambling to get back onto the wheels as they come through. Vink and Van Elst, but they're being closed down, and it's really interesting. Safrazad, Hoyos, Noren, Van den Eekhout, all doing the work to close that gap down.
Well, they are indeed, and the pack all back together again, but I can see one rider just off the back there at the moment. So Walter is here, Harris is here, Martins, Bjorklund, Safrazad, Nair, Vujasin is here. These riders all in this leading group, but every now and again they're dropping a rider from the back of this pack and making it smaller. It's Tim Cutler that's in trouble, you know.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is indeed. It's Tim Cutler, the rider off the back of the pack at the moment, and Mr. X100. So Cutler has been dropped. Cutler is now 16 seconds back. So our early attacker, Tim Cutler, now 17, 18, 19 seconds back. Mr. X100 is the next rider up the road. He is also off the back of the group, but not by much, by about 3 seconds. Working his way, well, I was about to say, working his way back on and into that group.
He's a past master of the chase, isn't he? He really knows how to. He doesn't panic.
No, not at all.
It's calm head, because if he does get dropped, he paces himself back in, and that's a sign of experience on the platform as well, knowing how much effort to put in, how deep to dig.
Well, and also, you know, it is about managing that energy and managing that effort, isn't it? Because as we said earlier on in the show, not everybody is the style of rider where you can attack, rest, attack, rest, attack, rest.
No, definitely not.
You've got to race your strengths.
And train your weaknesses.
We've also got to train your strengths.
Not as much.
Well, I don't know. I disagree with that.
What does Eddie Merckx know? There you go.
Well, you know.
Not me, Eddie Merckx. Okay, Michael Vink on the climb. And attacking again, pushing on here. Vink with the lead in category 1. Left-hand side of your screen, right-hand side of your screen. Your 4 leaders are your category 2 riders. Remember, with categories 1 and 2 in the same universe, the same MyWhoosh universe, on the same route. Categories 3 and 4 also on the same route. The gap has come down between categories 1 and category 2. However, the riders in category 2, because of this attack, because you've got Gray, Sprat, Simeons and Barisi all working to maintain this breakaway, it's keeping the pace high.
Well, I'll tell you what as well, it's pretty much held the gap. It's wavering at the moment, but the reason it's wavering so rapidly is because of the terrain the riders are on. This is rolling terrain, and when they're on a downhill it stretches out, when they're on uphill it concertinas back together again. But still a good gap, around 45 seconds at the moment, but until we really get onto that climb the next time up, we're really not going to get a great indicator of what that gap is in its steady state. Now, back in with the category 1 race field, they are all back together again. That attack from Vink being brought back together, so Popovic, Bjorklund, Vink, all back in this group, nice and comfortable and rolling well at the moment. In fact, take a look at that. Michael Vink, well, after that attack, his heart rate is now steady at 132, telling me he's had his micro rest. Is he ready to go again?
Well, I kind of hope he is, but that's just depressingly quick if he can recover that quick.
Well, he is an elite athlete.
Yeah, that's true. Yay! Just don't worry about that bit. Okay, so let's get back to some hard stats data. Never mind our speculation. You can just see Tim Cutler chasing there.
Yeah.
But Van der Niekerk had the fastest time. You saw it update live there as Tim Cutler came through. Remember, Cutler off the back of the group and chasing hard, and that is why he's nearly 2 seconds quicker. That means that in the space of this City Beach Sprint number 2, which is a 300 meters, so just under a third of a kilometer long, he pulled back 2 seconds coming through that 1.883 of a second through, nearly 2 seconds, 1.9 on the rest of the group. So Cutler is trying to close down on this group. Not made the junction yet, and he is having to work hard to do so because this pack is in here. Now, Michael Vink not only has a target on his back because he is the rider they all know they have to watch, he's also the rider with the polka dot skin suit, which makes him even more
obvious
visible.
Spot.
It doesn't make life easy, does it, for the riders?
He should have thought about that.
Do you think that's a faux pas on his part?
Well, everybody knows it's him, don't they?
Yeah.
There's no confusion. There's no moment of.
No, once you know that Vic's in the polka dot jersey, you can go, oh right, well that's easy to keep an eye on him, isn't it?
Yeah.
So would you have backed off there basically to try and make sure somebody else got the climb jersey?
Well, if I'd have thought about it.
That's quite a big if, isn't
it? I know.
When you're racing. We can talk about this in the studio.
In retrospect, it's one of those things you think, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
But that's the great thing about racing, isn't it? That when you race, you're in oxygen, that your brain's not functioning at 100%.
You mean the red fog descends?
The red mist descends, you're looking through a tunnel, however you want to phrase it. It is brutal. Now, left-hand side of your screen, you've got Michael Vink in the race leading category 1. Right-hand side of your screen, Tim Cutler in the sprint jersey behind the group. That group has dropped it for about 30 seconds, but Cutler now going for the sprint, taking that. And this is a really interesting way of doing it, isn't it? Because you can take away the green jersey potentially by riding off the back. When we saw Ross Fawcett do that time and time again
in the championships, we did very, very successfully as well, because there are multiple opportunities on the Sunday Race Club now, aren't there? Because you've got the target of the polka dot jersey, you've got the green jersey, and of course you've got the target of the overall win or the overall top 5. So something for everyone. And if Cutler had a bit of a push on at the front of the race, now been dropped by this group, still has something to motivate the ride. Now
this is dangerous. Vink, Knudsen, Mr. X100, 3 riders in the group. What do they all have in common?
All in the UAE clan team.
They are indeed. And they've got a gap. 6 seconds. This is where maybe Vic's realised he can't go away on his own. The riders can talk to each other as well. Don't forget by hitting the mic button. If you're on the same team, you can talk just to your team mates. Knudsen, Vic and Mr. X100. This surely is a move where you have to push. Come on, guys. This is, prime opportunity. 3 teammates down the road.
And
now
nothing.
is the time to make everyone else suffer.
Well, that's it, isn't it? And I've just been looking at the numbers thinking, what? You know, you do not let 3 riders from the UAE clan... What? You do not let 3 riders from the UAE clan team go down the road on their own. 7 seconds they are now clear. Van Elst, Kaminsky. Kaminsky's doing 2, but that is not a concerted chase effort coming out of these riders in this chase group at all. 7 seconds and holding at the moment.
And look where they are. They're coming up on riders in Category 2. That means they're going to get draft. They're going to get assistance on the way through. So here we go. Watch this now. The numbers are white. They're going to come through. They go to green. They get that assistance as they come through. It flicks back green again. They've got a number of riders spread out here. And this is where they're taking advantage. Not only that, but they're going to get the assistance here of the Category 2 riders because they will not want to let these riders go without a fight as well. And this is really, really interesting. This is going to make a big, big difference. We're waiting to see what the time gap is. But if you were a rider in Category 1, guys, the alarm bell should have rung. This should have been like that sort of 3-minute warning from the guard wire. Yeah, like imagine the fire alarm going off like right in your eardrums. Surely the alarm has gone off. 3 riders from the UAE clan team with Knudsen, Kaminsky and Mr. X100 have gone down the road. There's either some amazing poker playing being played in the Category 1 bunch, or they've been caught napping.
Well, I think it's the latter because they do not seem bothered at the moment. So is this a case of, oh, well, we'll just let them go?
Surely not.
I can't believe that. I honestly cannot believe that today.
Not with 372,000 Algerian dinar at stake.
Well, Knudsen is pushing on. He's got X100 and Vink. 3 teammates gone down the road. They're now on the climb. The chasing group, oh, I'm looking at that. They're around 150 meters.
I don't think you can gratify it with or grace it with the term chasing group. The group behind.
Well,
but I'm not sure this is a chase. Maybe it's starting to think about it.
Well, they are indeed, because Vujasin has absolutely started to push on here. So Vujasin pushes into the climb. Hoyost, Van Elst, Walter Safrazad, Martins, Kaminsky. Well, they've got their work cut out for them now because 3 riders are clear. 3 riders are down the road. Vink, Knudsen, and X100.
And just give it a nice dramatic pause there because it needed one, because it just says everything, doesn't it? I mean, what else can you say? 3 of the key riders in the racing have gone. The rest have looked at each other, and now they're going to give themselves more work to do.
Do you know what I want to say? Light the fire, let's go, bring it on, chase them back.
Well, I think your timing was perfect because now we start to see the red and yellow chevrons kick in. In part, though, this is because the gradient has increased. And as you hit these slopes, we've seen this, we're at 10% basically coming up here. It is a brutal section. It's not as tough, though, as the first section out of the dip. And then that gap at the moment has opened right up. So, Vink, Knudsen, and Mr. X100. Now, it may be that they are fracturing slightly. That time gap might be deceptive, but we really want to see what that shows us when we get over the top and into the dip. Now, left-hand side of your screens here, we have Knudsen, we have Vink. Mr. X100, I think, is fractured 2 seconds behind, potentially. I think at the moment, they should come back together on the ascent here. So it's Vink and Knudsen at the moment, who are on their way down. They're going to hit part 2 before the leaders behind, the chasers behind, and I think we can credit them with being chased down, go over the top. They're just going over the top now, and look at this. Knudsen and Vink are on to the climb, but the gap is there. They've just lost Mr. X100 slightly.
Well, you couldn't ask for a more dastardly duo than Vink and Knudsen. They're consummate climbers, both on the same team, both capable of taking the top spot. Wow. Vink and Knudsen leading this race at the moment. 6 seconds back to X100, 30 seconds back to the chasing group. Hoyos, Noren and Popovic are at the front of that chasing group at the moment. X100 looking over his shoulder. He can see the group. They're in the dip at the bottom. They are starting on the second part of the climb. Currently 16.2% underneath X100's wheel. This is a steep, steep climb, and this is a phenomenal race playing out here. Vink and Knudsen are down the road. X100 sits in the middle. Van Elst, Hoyas, Walter, Harris, Kaminsky, Safrazad and Nair, well, they are now working hard on this climb. But is it all over already?
Well, it could be. The riders have gone, and they've gone clear, and they've gone hard. Now, behind this is an elite group of riders. They have the power, they have the strength to pull this back, but they can't leave it any longer. And the downside for them is, when they chase down, the man who's going to be getting an easy ride is Pablo Popovic, who is a teammate of the three riders in front. And Popovic, we know, is capable of taking the win. So, as they go off, they are chasing. It is a bit like wacky races at the moment, as the riders behind are going drat, drat, and double drat, trying to chase down the group in front. The two riders who really have gone clear. The rest of them, well, they're trying to chase down that pigeon that's taken flight in front. Can they stop the pigeon, or will they be left sniggering like Muttley behind at the escapades of the Dastardly group behind? Great word, Dastardly. Look it up. Look up Dick Dastardly and stop the pigeon if you so feel inclined to reminisce.
Be careful, because I could even sing the song. Anyway.
Yes, so can I. It shows our age very clearly and why we are not racing, but we're talking about this instead.
It is. So Stefan Van Elst here in the pack with Popovic, Martins, Walter, Harris. They are pushing on here on this climb, but are they pushing on hard enough? Are they making any leeway into that gap created by Vink, Knudsen and X100? Well, Knudsen is at the top. He's gone up and over the climb for the second time. 4 minutes 14 seconds side by side. Michael Vink went with him. Then it was X100 2 seconds back. Now the pack went up the climb 6 seconds slower than the leading two. So Knudsen and Vink clear. X100 is looking like he's with them. He's pushing on this downhill section to get that wheel. 18 seconds back to Hoyas.
Okay, so our riders on the way over the top. Let's see if they're going to make the junction. Are they going to close the gap down? Let's keep an eye on our riders. So on this descent, two leading riders are going to become three, I think. I think Mr. X100 is going to make contact here. He's putting in a big enough dig at the moment. That gap still holding at 20 seconds at 29.3k. The chasers are on the descent. That's in category 1. Right-hand side of the screen, though. Category 2. Well, whilst all that action has been playing out, 4 have become 3. It looks like Nicholas Spratt now in no man's land between our 3 leaders, Parisi, Simeons and Graves, with the chasing group behind Spratt. That's Asa Mendikowicz, along with Bjarhed and Meyer, still trying to close the gap down, but at 1 minute 34. So, to a sense of the climb done for all of our categories 4, 3, 2 and 1. We now can see our leading riders in categories 2 and 1 on the right and left of our screens at the top, and then on the right and left of our screens at the bottom. Well, that is category 4 leaders. Brett McMurtry in there with Velas, with Dustin and Allport. Meanwhile, on the left of your screen, it's a much bigger group in category 3, and that really is the biggest leading group now.
Yeah, it is.
In terms of not being brought back, a real breakaway, a real fractious race.
Yeah, it is indeed. So a large group in category 3 and very different in the other races. So category 1, 2 leaders. Category 2, 3 leaders. Category 3, a large pack. Category 4, 4 leaders. So this is all now into the final lap of Wollongong City. 1 more lap to go in this race. It is all starting to heat up, and we are going to see how this plays out in all 4 of our categories today.
So here we go. This is the run. Remember, we are going to 45 kilometers. The last 200 meters is the run into the line. So let's take a little bit of a look at the critical distances and the critical part of the course to come. Remember, the furthest riders through are our category 4 riders, but this is coming together in both 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So take a look at the map. We've done climb number 1, we've done climb number 2. They look very much the same because they are the same piece of road. We're heading for climb number 3. Now, breaking down this climb into a little bit more detail, is that all key part 1 of the climb, Emma, part 2 of the climb, or would you say that there's somewhere on the way through that is more critical? Would you see, for example, an attack coming from the City Beach sprint, the final sprint segment? You can see it's really bumpy and ascending before you go into the final climb itself.
Well, it's really interesting, isn't it? I think in the races we've got in front of us today, we've got small groups at the front, 2s, 4s, 3s, you know, that type of thing. In category 3, it's very, very different because we've still got a large bunch. Now, whether that bunch gets made smaller or the run-in, or whether they literally take it to the end of the climb, let's not forget the final stages of the Wollongong climb between the polka dot banner and signifying the end of the segment and the yellow arch, the final line of the course. It kicks at around 16%. It's exceptionally steep, and we have seen people before put seconds, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds into someone by attacking in the last 150 meters. This race can be won in literally the last meters of the course. I suppose it's how good do you feel and how much risk do you want to take?
Risk versus reward. That's what we
Absolutely
like to see, and that's what's left. So we're heading in. Remember that profile. So we make our way in. We're in with the leaders of category 1, and they are tucked in here with the chase group in category 2. Now, this will benefit the category 2 riders who are in the chasing group on the left of your screen. Right hand side of your screen are the leaders in category 2. They have the gap at the moment, Graves, Parisi and Simeons, but remember, category 2 can drive category 1 and vice versa, but it's a big gap between them, 1.8k or so as they go through. So at the moment they've got to get a decent sized lift, but they're the right place to do so on this long straight. If you've got a group of 3 riders, Vink, Mr. X100 and Michael Knudsen, motoring their way on a breakaway, catching you with the chance to use them for assistance, this is where you wanted it to happen.
Well, the leaders of category 2 continuing to push on. They are some way down the road from this chasing group of category 2 riders who are in with the leaders in the category 1 race. So Vink, Knudsen, X100 in here with them. Well, Cam Winfield is in this group at the moment. Great for the youngster to get a feel of what it's like to sit on Michael Vink's wheel. That is absolutely something you cannot put together if you wish. So Cam Winfield, young rider, in the pack with Michael Vink, Michael Knudsen, X100, mixing it up with the big boys at the moment. We're seeing the chasers down the road now. Currently the chasers in the category 1 race, well, they are around 30 seconds back. Vujasin, Popovic, Hoyas all putting in a big kick. It was Zanaska who took Knudsen to the line last week. He's not there to do that this week. Is this chasing group going to make the catch? They are the next group on the road behind Vink, Knudsen and the category 2 riders. Can Vujasin make his mark and close it down?
They're going to have to do something big, Kaminsky responding to that. You just see him coming up. Well, I saw 10 watts per kilo coming out there from Kaminsky. He comes up now. This is where the chase is on. They're looking to try and close the gap down. They've got to work hard. They've got to pull. They've got to really, really keep this going. It's going to be key to pull that group back now. The leaders have already done the right-hand turn onto that kicker up in towards Wollongong. I think the pressure is on. I think they realise they're running out of road to close this gap down. 34.2k covered for the chasers. 34.6 for the leaders. And look at this. They are bringing riders back at the moment as this group comes up here. The leaders are really firing on all four cylinders here in the Category 1 race. You've got Vink, you've got Knudsen right in this mix. You've got Mr. X100 in the group, and they are absolutely flying. You can see the work that's being done at the moment as they come in and through. They're onto the wheel of Munoz. You've got Quadrelli there. This is going to be tough, but look at the chase that's on behind. Nair, Hoyos, Bobovic, Van den Eekhout, Kaminsky, they're on this same climbing section, and this is tough stuff. This is going to come down to the wire. A quick reminder, we are approaching 35k. We've still got 10k to go.
Well, let's not forget 4th and 5th in the Category 1 race is going to come from this bunch if those three stay away. So even if they don't make the catch, there's still 2 spots on the podium at play here.
There are indeed, and look at the damage that's been done here. Norrin just making his way up here now. I saw down at 0.5 watts per kilo as we saw Norrin on the front here. So Norrin is trying to keep the pace high, trying to continue to kick onwards. He's got Nair, Popovic, Hoyos, Kaminsky, Safrazad with him. However, they're just behind by a few seconds as they go down. Norrin is looking like he wants part of this action.
Well, Norrin, let's not forget, in qualifier number 1 in August, Norrin finished in 3rd place. We were on the Jebel Yace that day. This is Australia. We're in Wollongong City, but Norrin is on the attack again.
So here we go. It is Norrin being closed down, though. I think he's not got the power to go down. Well, he doesn't want to use it right now. I think it's probably a more accurate phrase because if you've got 6 riders behind, unless you're incredibly confident, I think it's a massively brave move to try and go clear against those 6, particularly when you're trying to close down the leaders. Because at the moment, what's he got to lose by working with these riders? Not a lot, I don't think. I wouldn't want to be doing all the work solo. I think that's just going to be really tough. Meanwhile, left-hand side of your screen, these are your leaders in Category 1. They are catching Category 2 riders. They've not made the way to the front of that leading group, but they are currently making the way up there. The distance between the riders is not huge now in all of our leads in terms of Category 1 and Category 2. In Category 3 and 4, well, that is a slightly different story because we saw some bigger breaks early on. Of course, our Category 1 riders should be setting the fastest time overall, and they should have the fastest time. Don't forget, of course, all of the results on mywhoosh.com/results. They're live at the moment, and of course, as that changes as they come through, then that will be updated, and it will be unofficial until verified at the end of the process.
Well, Vink pushing on here. He is the rider in the polka dot jersey that you can see side by side with Michael Knudsen. The rider choosing not to wear a helmet with the bald head there at the moment. Very noticeable now. That is Knudsen's normal style, easy to spot on the screen. So Knudsen and Vink, currently the riders sitting here leading the charge in the Category 1 race. Their teammate X100 in the bunch with them as well. And 4 riders from the Category 2 race still managing to take a tow here. So Caligula, Quintero, Roncalli, the riders in the group here. Oika is here too as they continue to push up the climb here. This is the front of the Category 1 race. Well, the chase is on behind.
It is on behind, but look at the effort that's going in here. Mr. X100, 7.2 watts per kilo, 7.3, 7.2 for Nerdson. You've got Vink in here as well. And the riders know that this is a potential chance to really stretch the gap out again. They need there to be confusion behind. They need there to be a little bit of a gap because there are riders in that big bunch who've not been working as hard. One man who has decided he really needs to get this back sooner rather than later is Johan Noren. Noren has got a gap now of 4 seconds on Vujasin, on Hoyos, on Kaminsky. You can see them behind, but this is going to be tough stuff. It's going to be a lonely ride. Tell you something, this would be some ride if he could solo clear from a group that should be chasing and take away a top 5 position, because this is a lot of work early now from Johan Noren, given that we're heading in towards the finale of this race.
It is, but he does have riders down the road who he can use as motivation. Now, they may not be the Category 1 riders, but there are Category 2 riders in between him and the riders he's chasing. Now, if he can use the motivation of each of those riders in his sights to slowly pick them off, then they are going to help him make that catch.
Wow. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what happens between now and the finish. Meanwhile,
Category 3, take a look at the size of that group.
And take a look at what's left.
Well,
2K.
Well, I know. So 2 kilometres to the finish in Category 3. And, well, there's around 20 riders still in this group. Scott Francis is the red jersey there. You can see towards the back of the pack. He is a Category 4 rider. And you can see there's a Category 4 rider up the road as well. So Brett McMurtry, Joy Kaluma are on this mountain as well. So is Valles, so is Dadson. Allport is there too. So look at that as the leaders in the Category 3 race catch the leaders in the Category 4 race. They are 1.7 kilometres from the finish.
So Ramirez goes over the top. John Ramirez, the leading rider in Category 3, now the leading rider on the road on the ascent. Part 1 of the final climb of Wollongong here in Australia on qualifier number 1 in September for the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. He's being joined, and you can see the Category 4 are not giving up the front of this race easily. The polka dot jersey there of Jose Velez with Brett McMurtry, with Luke Allport, with Mark Datson, all want to be in the mix. They want to go over the top together. It's then the final descent before we go on to our final climb. From the bottom of this next section, it's going to be all uphill all the way to the top of the climb with some really steep, brutal slopes to come. Velez is going to lead them down into the descent. Allport, McMurtry, Dadson are there. Gates is chasing behind, and it looks like Gates is right in the mix with Elos as well. And I'm just looking, it looks like all of that group is coming together. Ramirez's initial attack has come to naught, and it looks like this is together again.
This is
here they come!
They are. This is a serious, strong group of Category 3 riders. This is a seriously strong front group of Category 4 riders. Both of these races are going to be determined on the final stage of the Wollongong climb. There is 900 metres to go, and it is skywards all the way.
No more downhill, no more taking it easy. The climb is going to kick. This is one of our steep parts. Remember, we've got a really steep section at the very end of this climb, but it is not easy anywhere. They're being led up here at the moment. There is a little bit of a gap to the very front of the race, but it is hardly anything at the moment. You can see Valencia is going to be on to the heels here of absolutely everybody. In fact, he's gone past them. He's going up into the front here. So the front of the race at the moment is going to be Esteban Valencia leading up. Gates is immediately behind. He's got to respond. You cannot let gaps go, because although it doesn't look very much because of the severity of the climb, This is about pushing on and making sure that you stay there. Now, Tom Gates, one of the real strong riders, he's got to keep pushing. He's got to keep in contention. You're seeing one or two riders' legs really blowing here.
Valencia is up, down, up, down, up, down. It's amazing. Can he last to the end? He's putting in a huge effort at the moment. Gates in 2, continues to push. Guarin in 3, Aaron in 4, Acker is there as well. So is Neville Ross. They are all working up this climb as Valencia continues to charge his way up this mountain.
So Esteban Valencia looking to keep this clear. He has got to keep the pace going now. Remember, the polka dot jersey is not the end of the race. That's the yellow MyWhoosh banner at the end. And all these riders know that the time to act is now. There is no more time for hesitation. Now is the time you've got to push. What can they do about this man, though? Esteban Ali Morales Valencia is going to come underneath the polka dot banner first of a Wollongong climb on lap number 3 with just the run to the finish line to do. I say just, it's not going to be easy. He's got Guarin behind him. He's got Gates behind chasing. Neville Ross, Acker, Valadares, Aaron also in the mix. Allport is chasing. He's currently the leader in category 4, but they've got to close this man down, and the time gap is shown as a substantial one. The distance on the road, though, it's next to nothing.
Well, it might be next to nothing, but Valencia is continuing to push. Guarin is coming, you know. He's putting down the power now. Guarin is kicking. This is looking like a race to the finish line. Gates is now kicking just shy of 9 watts per kilo. It's not over yet, you know, Matt.
It's not over yet. It's on his way into the line now. It is going to be Valencia who's leading. Guarin is trying to close him down, but it's going to be Esteban Valencia who takes the race win here on qualifier number 1 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Guarin takes away number 2 spot. It's going to be a run all the way to the line for our leader in category number 4, because it's going to be Velas, I think, who's just going to take that from Allport as they came through on the line. These riders are coming through thick and fast in all of our categories. I think 3rd place is going to be Dadson in category number 4. Categories 3 and 4, it came together on the climb. It blew apart on the climb. We can see the same again here now.
Wow.
Fink, Knudsen, Mr. X100 clear at the front of category 1. They are helping the chase in towards the riders leading category 2, Parisi, Graves, Simmons and Spratt.
Well, Parisi, Graves and Simmons, they are now 1.5 kilometres from the finish. Knudsen and Vink are the 2 riders pushing them on at the moment. X100 is in this chase group as well. Nicholas Spratt is pretty much in no man's land between these 2 groups at the moment. So Graves, Simmons, Parisi, they are on the climb. They are pushing for the win in this Category 2 race. Are they going to get to that line first, or is this Category 1 race field going to make the catch?
Right, I'm going to predict that they're not going to make the catch, because as the leaders in Category 1 went underneath the start banner of the climb, the leaders of Category 2, Parisi, Simmons, Graves and Spratt, went over the top of Part 1. That means that they are separated by Part 1 of that climb as they went up there. That means that's a huge head start for Graves, for Simmons, for Parisi and Spratt at the front of the Category 2 race. Category 1 are halfway up Part 1 as we see the leaders in Category 2 on to Part 2. So this is going to come down. It's going to be nail-biting. I've put my prediction out there. Let's see if I'm correct. I'm not even going to ask Emma to try and predict this one, because I'm going to get a flat no, I suspect.
Well, with 800 metres to go, the Category 2 race are on the final slopes. It's 17% at the moment under their wheels, and Simeons is pushing on strongly. He's got Philip Graves for company. Parisi is there as well. Nothing is splitting these at the moment. Nicholas Spratt, well, he is the first rider who will see the Category 1 race. But will he make it as well as Graves pushes on? Graves now taking the lead from Simeons. These two are neck and neck up this mountain. A little gap now back to Parisi. 8 seconds.
And don't be confused by the riders that are going past. They are lapped riders on the course. Simeons is the rider with the green skin suit, yellow helmet. The polka dot skin suit is going to be Simeons there. Graves, in the green skin suit. They are your two leaders, right-hand side of the screen on the road. At the moment, they're halfway up part two as Michael Vink now kicks on at the front of the category one race. He's got Knudsen and Mr. X100 behind him. It's not by much, but it could be enough. Will we see a Vink take away the victory at the top of the climb? They're still a reasonable distance behind. I don't think they're going to get back the leaders of category two. And remember, category two, every category, top 5 riders getting prizes. Once those results are verified, this is about the run for the line. Who's going to get it?
Well, Category 2 have got around 350 metres to go. Category 1, 700 metres to go. This is the final stage. This is the final countdown. Graves pushes on, Simmons in 2. They're about to see that polka dot banner indicating the end of the climbing segment, and 200 metres to go.
So here we go. The run for the line is on. This is not about numbers now. This is about who wants it the most. Who wants to take this out? Simeons is the man with the bit between his teeth. He's kicking hard. That's a 14 watts per kilo kick from Simeons. And Graves is done and dusted. The wheels have fallen off Graves' wagon. This is going to be Olivier Simmons who's going to take the win. Here he comes. Category 2 win. He defies all of the Category 1 runners as well. Olivier Simmons takes 1. It's going to be Phil Graves who's going to take away 2 after that race-long breakaway with Olivier Simmons. It's Graves in at 2. He's also got the polka dot and the green jersey. What a ride by him. Behind, we're dropping back to Category 1 race lead. Michael Vink of the UAE clan team ahead of his teammate Michael Knudsen in 2. Ahead of his teammate in 3 is Mr. X100. The gap is at about 30 seconds to the group with Hoyos and Kaminsky. You can just see Kaminsky on the right-hand side of your screen, surrounded by Vujasin and everybody else. They are all over the road here, but surely this is Michael Vink's race win to lose now.
Well, Vink pushes on. He can see the finishing banner now as Vink pushes at 8 watts per kilo. He's continuing this charge up the mountain. He's got 7 seconds on Knudsen, 15 on X100. The chase is on behind, but Michael Vink takes the win in qualifier race number 1 for September. Knudsen's coming up and going to come in for 2nd place. X100 is going to take 3rd. But is he? Because Vujasin is coming. Lionel Vujasin is coming up the mountain. He's taken X100. So is Hoyos. Vujasin and Hoyos passing X100. They are going to take 3rd and 4th in this race. Can X100 hold on for 5th? I think he just holds on for 5th place. Wow, that group came in fast.
He did, and they continue in was Butt Van and Eke out, and the next finisher is going to go in ahead of Noren and Safrazad. Both fight now with Pablo Popovic behind him and behind a real battle. This climb did not disappoint here. What a race finish here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Our men's race, qualifier race number 1. Let's give you those results. Michael Vink in 1, Michael Knudsen in 2, both from the UAE clan team. They were aided by the rider, the 3rd counter for the UAE clan team, Mr. X100 in 5th. In between, Lionel Vujasin taking 3rd and Juan Hoyos taking 4th. Behind, the riders continue to come in to race finish. The results live at the moment, they'll become unofficial at the end of the race, then will be verified. Don't forget, you can keep up with all of the action every week on the MyWhoosh Live on Twitch TV. Make sure you give the team a follow at MyWhoosh on Facebook and on Instagram and my_whoosh on Twitter. which is also known as X. My name's Matt Payne. And I will be back next week with the action. With me will be Emma Martin. Emma, what a way to start the month of September.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal racing by all 4 of our men's categories in Australia today.
Well, we look forward to next week. I hope you will be joining us, not just for the coverage of the Sunday Race Club, but also on MyWhoosh, out and riding and getting in the race practice ready for next week's racing. A massive thank you to you for watching, and thank you to the riders for making the action just absolutely blisteringly quick today in the women's and men's racing. A big thank you to all of the team behind the scenes at MyWhoosh HQ. But from Emma, from myself, and Matt Payne, stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.